Music and Booze with Mo is produced and distributed by EatsDrinksTV, a service of the Center for Culinary Culture, home of the Cocktail Collection, and First Reel Entertainment, and is available wherever fine podcasts can be heard. The Center for Culinary Culture, telling the story of food and drink, one taste at a time. Welcome to Music and Booze with Mo. I'm Mo Herms, and I've worked in the music industry most of my life, so have met some pretty amazing musicians over the years. I also love a good cocktail, and I've encountered some really interesting bartenders as well. It seems that there's a lot of crossover, so when I can, I like to talk to musicians and bartenders about music and booze. Join us at the bar, won't you? Music and Booze with Mo is brought to you by Barkeeper, a head shop for cocktail lovers, located at 614 North Hoover Street in Silver Lake, Los Angeles. Stop by for barware, vintage glassware, a carefully curated collection of spirits, and one of the most impressive selections of bitters anywhere. Follow them on Instagram and Facebook for information regarding spirits tastings. That's barkeepersilverlake.com, and also in the Virgil Village neighborhood of Silver Lake, Los Angeles.
We passed up on the stair. We spoke of was and when, although I wasn't there. He said I was his friend, which came as some surprise. I spoke into his eyes. I thought you died alone a long, long time ago.
In the London neighborhood of Dalston, there is a bar called Three Sheets, and I got to talk to Rosey Mitchell, the drinks development queen. Yep, that's how it's listed. From that spot. It's a place that I actually stayed in that part of town the last time I was in London, and this bar was open and I didn't go there. I'm a horrible person, but I did get to talk with Rosey, and I'm very glad I did because she and I share a deep love for peaches, and she's looking for a lyricist because she can play guitar. She just can't write the words. So let's sit down and listen to her love of peaches, her time at Milk and Honey, all kinds of good stuff.
So I'm Rosey. I can currently be found at Three Sheets in Dalston in London.
Beautiful.
I've been here for like 4.5 years now. I had a year off last year, so technically it would be 5.5. But yeah, it's been a while.
When did Three Sheets open?
6 years ago.
6 years ago. Okay, so
Yeah,
it opened when I was there, I think.
Yeah.
It was
October 2000 oh no, so it would have been there so it was 6 years last year.
Got it.
So yeah.
Somewhere, yeah. I think I might have. I remember that when I was in that neighborhood, there were bars. There was like one bar that had opened up, and my friend that I was staying with knew that I loved a good cocktail. So we did go stop by the one cocktail bar that had opened in that neighborhood. And then there was another place that was lovely. It was an LGBTQ, very colorful, has like kind of a little patio up in the section. Another area over there where we went to drink that was really wonderful. But that neighborhood was really developing in a cocktail way last time I was there.
Is that all in Dalston too?
I believe so. I'll have to get some names for you. So what is Three Sheets? Tell me about Three Sheets. I haven't been.
So it's still has the neighborhood bar vibes to it. It's small. We can only have like 35 people in here.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of adds to the like relaxed kind of feel to it. We have a very small cocktail menu, only 9 drinks, to keep things like simple. we also don't ever change the entire menu. We just drop maybe like 2 or 3 on a month. So changing it with like seasonality, or as we don't push the creative process of making drinks. It's just like when it's ready, we might drop one off, because we tend to find that is the best way to get like a really, really good end result, without putting like a lot of pressure onto it.
I think it's important to keep standards. Well, not necessarily standards, but to keep a lot of bars I've noticed just flip their menu every couple of months. And then if there's something there that a customer fell in love with, then it's gone. You know, they don't get that anymore. And I think having a standard menu that doesn't change is really great for keeping your neighborhood. They know they can go in there and get this one drink. They know they can pop in, and it's reliable. You know, they can still try something new if they want to, but it's reliable. And I think that's really important especially for a neighborhood bar. So that's wonderful that you guys do that. When did you yourself start bartending?
A couple of weeks after my 18th birthday.
Oh yeah?
So, yeah, almost 13 years ago. I was in the process of applying for art university at the time, and I didn't have a job. And I went to this like shopping center. It was like slightly fancy, with a friend of mine who was looking for a job. And I was like, no, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna go to TGI's and have a cocktail while you're doing this. So I sat there drinking my peach crush.
Perfect.
Yeah, right. Still one of my favorites.
I still love Midori to this day. I still love Midori, and people tease me about that, but I'm like, you can still do good things with Midori, just don't use too much.
Also, there is absolutely like nothing wrong with a June bug.
No.
Ever. Yeah, sat there smashing peach crushes, and there was this bartender that I was chatting away to, and I was like, I'm gonna try my luck here. And I was like, hey, buddy, have you got any jobs going? And he was like, I haven't, but my my housemate has, in this like town just over from where we were. I was like, okay, cool. And he was like, can you free pour? I was like, yeah.
You're sure?
Yeah, yes, I can. It's like, do you have bar experience? I'm like, yeah, yes. He's like, right, I'll give him a call. So yeah, he called him and was like, what are you doing this Friday? Can you go in for a trial shift? And I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, amazing. I can do that. My friend turned up and was like, I've not had any luck. No one's really hiring. And I've like handed my CV out into a couple of places. And I was like, I've got a trial shift on Friday. And she was like, what? How have you done that? You weren't even looking. I have no idea.
How was that? Yeah, how was the trial shift?
So what I did was like quickly searched the premise of free pouring, so that I could at least blag it a little bit better.
Oh, it's terrifying.
Yeah. I was also like 18 and just
no fear, absolutely no fear.
I hadn't learnt my lesson yet. So I went to this trial shift, and the manager at the time was like, oh, so I hear you have some experience and you know how to free pour. And I was like, yeah, however, I know like that everyone has a different count, and I'd like to you teach me what you guys do at this bar. So
very smart. Oh my God, I love this story.
Because it was like a late night kind of cocktail bar, and like kind of borderline into a nightclub. I guess they did spirit and mixers, which was one count, like 25, 50 mils, and then also cocktails. So that was all in ounces.
There you go.
So I had to learn. That was also worked in my favor because there was 2 different things. So I was like, teach me how you guys do it.
Yeah, so smart. I mean, so many people I know, when they start in a place like that, let's say they start in a club, right? It's high volume. all anybody wants is like vodka cranberry or something, right? And that's so easy to fake. You just there, go. And nobody cares. They don't need it to be perfect because they just want to get drunk and dance or something, you know? So there's something to starting out in that environment, but it sounded like you had to do a little bit more. I am so impressed with your like backing up your lies. That's so good. I'm very
I would absolutely not have the foresight to be able to do that now.
I know, right? I feel like I've gotten way more honest as I've gotten older, but when you're younger, you're just like hustling, you know, you're in the mood to hustle.
And the anxiety would just like take over. Like now, if I said that, I'd just be like, oh my God, what have I done? And pull out before, like,
right? So how long did you stay at that spot?
4 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, I know. Not at that. They had a couple of sites, so I stayed at that site until I was like 20, and then went up to be like one of their supervisors and went over to a different site they had. But it was run by run and owned by ex TGI like champions.
Oh yeah. So it's, you know, but that's a great learning places like that. You know, you learn how to set up and everything and get your style down if you had one.
It was very fast. That because also I guess the thing when you're a teenager, they used to set like incentives of who can take the most money, like so you have your station, and it's because it's just like 4 deep.
Yeah. Oh God, that's terrifying. So from that space, when did you feel you were coming into your own as a bartender? Because it sounds like it was an accidental career choice for you, unless you wanted to.
I never went to art college either. I never went.
No. So much for that. But you're being creative in this capacity. So when did you feel you were like, this is something I'm coming into my own. This is something I can do. You know, do you remember when that came upon you?
I mean, do you ever really think you come into your own as a bartender? I think it's like a
constant. Some people do, some people don't. It's a valid comment.
Yeah.
Maybe one day you just woke up and you're like, I'm doing this. I guess this is what I'm doing.
Who am I? What is this?
Right.
I think towards the reason I left that kind of environment, I loved it. Like I loved like being in that kind of DJ environment, in that kind of clubby vibe. I did love it. But then I realized that I had a passion for flavor. So I was, from the age of about 20, I was always wanting to work at, like, always focused on trying to work at 69 Corporate Row. So then, yeah, but that was like my kind of my end goal, or the other goal that I believed I could get. So I left that and started working some small kind of neighborhoody cocktail bars in South London. And then I met someone that worked at Milk and Honey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Let's level up.
Yeah, I know, right? So I went and worked at so I spent like a kind of a year at these these kind of neighborhoody cocktail bars that were a bit more kind of seasonal, and did small plates as well, and learned a lot about that side of things. Because I was so used to late night volume. This was really nice to kind of get better understanding of like customer interaction, and how to be able to kind of run a room better. And then after that went to Milk and Honey.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, those drinks were, of course, as we know, very specific, very special. Do you remember when you created your first a cocktail that you could claim as your own, or one of the early ones that you had some input into?
So to finish
Sorry.
That story. No, because there's two points I can make it. I went to Milk and Honey, and then I ended up at 69 Cobbett Row.
You did get there.
I did get there. Yeah.
Amazing.
And at 69, I was kind of working a lot on the drinks creation side of stuff. Spent a lot of time at Drink Factory, and like everything I learned there was like that definitely helped with my kind of creative understanding, and definitely the way that I see drinks creations and that side of stuff now. But the first drinks that I can actually remember making was a specialist menu for the Red Room at Milk and Honey.
Wow. Oh wow.
Yeah,
no pressure.
No, but all of us, there was like 6 of us that worked there at the time, and we all had to design a menu about our favorite spirit, which of course some of us were like a bit niche because it was Milk and Honey and we had access to everything that you anything you wanted, we had, and I got really into Armagnac. Well, because we had some phenomenal training sessions when we were there. Like Dave Broom came and taught us about whiskey and like really cool stuff.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Sat tests, and the one that I knew nothing about before I started there, and I just fell madly in love with was Armagnac. So I did a menu of 6 drinks for the Red Room at Milk and Honey,
and based on with Armagnac, which is something that I need to learn more about that myself. That's, there are some that kind of sneak up behind you when they wind up in a drink. You're like, oh, this is yummy. Oh, I have to remember this. But then, I've got my stuff at home, you have whatever. When does it become practical, to like pull something like that in there? That's amazing. That actually goes with what I was going to ask you next was, did you, something that you learned when you were behind the bar, and did you become sort of a specialist in a certain spirit? It sounded like you were the Armagnac go-to at that time.
I would like to think so. If you asked me at the time in my early 20s, I think I
do you have a
spirit?
Do you have a spirit of choice now that you lean towards?
Armagnac is still my favorite.
Yay. Oh, I love that.
But I don't sadly, it's not something that I drink like a lot of anymore. We don't stock it at the bar. And it's also one of these things that everyone loves it, but it's very difficult to kind of, you don't walk into someone and be like, oh, there's an Armagnac drink on this menu. So it's I just don't enough anymore.
Like Rosey can tell you all about that, because there's going to be someone who's going to be like, what is Armagnac? And you're like, I got you. So since you've been doing this now for a while, what is one of your favorite parts of being a bartender now?
I really love that you have the ability to be able to like curate someone's night. Because like they put their trust in you by walking into your venue to make that night worthwhile. Otherwise they wouldn't have come to you in the first place. So I love being able to, it's just even the small tiny details, like understated details that they probably wouldn't even notice, but it's these little things that make the difference and make that night like one to remember, I guess.
Oh, that's wonderful. I am definitely sending my friend, who I'm sure lives around the corner, to your place with his partner, so that the two of them can have their night curated by you, because he would joke with me while I was there. He's like, you have probably been to more bars than I've been to, in the last couple of years. He also, at the time, his son was maybe 8 or something, and now he and his boyfriend and the son are all a bit older. They can all do this stuff. So he wasn't going to bars as much as he would like to. But yeah, I'll have to send him over and see what kind of a night Rosey can give to my friend and his boyfriend, which sounds wonderful. It sounds like a beautiful evening. But since you were talking about curating, curation is a word that someone who's worked in the music business forever, tend to think of in more musical terms than that sort of thing. So I have to ask you the music questions if you're ready for them. And I don't know this about you. Do you play, or did you ever play any instruments, or did you dabble in DJing or any of that in the world of music? She's laughing. That sounds good already.
Both of these things. When I was younger, when I was at secondary school, I played guitar.
Oh yeah.
Was like set on starting a band for most of my teenage years. Realized that I am awful at writing lyrics. Like, I'm so bad. Like, I can't write lyrics. I can't name drinks. I'm so bad at it. And that put an end to my
your musical ambitions.
Yeah.
Hey, but were you a good guitar player though? Because you could have been. There are plenty of guitar players who don't write song lyrics.
I know, but I needed someone else to
help.
Do you know what, actually, if anyone's listening to this podcast and one is really, really good at writing lyrics, come find me and let's start.
So that means you still play guitar then?
Yes, I picked it back up during lockdown.
Oh, nice.
I go through like phases of it. I think as like a couple. I religiously get into it for like a year, and then I don't play it for. Like,
who were some guitar people that you admired when you first started playing? Who did you want to play like?
Oh, I was that like. I was that kind of grunge kid in my.
Of course.
Yeah, and of course it was that. And then because my mum was such a Bowie fan, like Bowie and Mark Bolan, I guess.
Oh, those are nice. Those are good ones. Do you remember an early song that you learned to play on the guitar when you were first starting out there?
Without being like, I of course learned to play like "Come As You Are" and "Smells Like Teen Spirit," as everyone did, I think.
But you got to learn on something, right? I mean, that's something that you can practice.
Come as you are, as you were, as I want you to be, as a friend, as unknown enemy. Take your time, hurry up, choice is yours, don't be late.
The first one that I remember being like really like obsessed with, really like struggling with at first, was the man who sold the world.
Really? That's a good one. That's a really good one. And I could see how that would be difficult too.
Yeah.
You don't think it's difficult until you start trying to teach yourself how to do it. And then you're like, what note is that? How did they, what?
Get frustrated and just lock myself in my bedroom until my mom would be like, "Are you playing Bowie?" Good. Keep going.
So when you were older and you wanted to start a band, so what kind of band did you want it to be? What bands were you're like, must be influenced by?
So I did the like emo thing in my early teens, which then progressed into like punk, post-hardcore punk.
Oh, cool.
And that's what,
and that's
like,
where you went.
My favorite band still to this day is Alexis on Fire.
Oh wow.
And I wanted a punk band. That is what I wanted.
You wanted to be able to scream and yell. It still can happen. It still can happen, Rosey.
Yes.
If I know anything about London, there's a lot of people there who like music and play music. So I would think there's a chance. So what was your first concert? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yes, I do. It was Incubus.
Really?
In 2004. I was 12. And
did you force one of your parents to take you, or was it no?
My parents let me go actually with my cousin at the time.
Oh, cool.
But my mother would not allow me to do standing, so we had to have seating, which absolutely
that must have
broke my
sucked.
heart.
I mean, I've been to shows, and now that I'm older, sometimes I'm like, oh, it's a seated show. Okay, I'm fine with that. Or I've become one of the people who I stand further back because I'm just not in the mood to get banged up, at a show.
I am also this person now, yeah.
Right. But I remember being at a show, being so close up in the front when this mini riot broke out. I actually had my foot broken at a show, and I didn't care. And I took my little brother to see the Pixies when he was 13 years old. And this was like early in their development. And I told him, people are going to be slamming into you. It was his first concert. And I warned him about what was going to happen. And the next thing you know, I see him just crowd surfing. And afterwards, he's like, that was the best. So when you are forced to sit, you're like, you want to move so much. Oh, that must have been so hard as a 12-year-old. I'm sure you wanted to run up and dance and be right in front of them. Right.
I wanted to, really wanted to jump over the balcony. It's one of those. I was like, what is this pit thing that's going on? Why is everyone pushing each other around and surfing? This looks amazing. Yeah, I was just so incredibly heartbroken about that. But I can still remember
that's amazing.
And that was a long time ago.
In your parents' defense, you probably did have a better view than you would have if you were down on the floor.
Which is now why I do seating sometimes, because I'm 5'2", and so most of the time all I see is a very tall man's back of his head.
And it doesn't even have to be the tallest man, And I still because I'm 5'5", so I still go to shows, but I wear heels all the time, so that helps. But I still go to shows with my baby brother, who is now 6'4". So he is now that person who is standing in front of you, that everyone is just like, always, the tall guy is always in front of me. And we'll see. And here's, in my brother's defense, he's like, I got here early because I want to be up front too and see, all this stuff. So, and a lot of the guys that I grew up with all got very tall like that. And so when I always joke, when I go to shows with them, I feel like I'm surrounded by a small building because they're all tall. And people always get mad at them, but I've become defensive of the talls because they didn't grow that tall on purpose just to upset you. But they, for some of them, my brother's a musician, so he wants to be up front. He wants to see how they're playing. He wants, his love of them is the same as our love of them. He's just tall. Which,
as you said, not his fault.
Not his fault. Not his fault. So and you were saying that you're terrible at naming cocktails, but I always have to ask if you were ever inspired by an artist or a song or anything when you were creating cocktails. I know you said you were inspired by the spirit, but maybe at some point you were just like, there's going to be a Bowie cocktail. I've
only done this once, and it was actually relatively recently. We were doing this event with Angels Envy.
Angels Envy, okay.
Yeah, they put on this LGBT event, and everyone asked some queer members of the bartending community in London to come up with a drink based around one of their idols. So mine last year, because I went on a bit of a I love peaches. Love peaches. Right?
I love that you still are loyal to your peach crush. You're saying, there's nothing wrong with that. One day you'll have to get out to Georgia when it's peach season, because I've been told there is nothing like that fresh peach out there, and everything's seasonal. But you love peaches, and you're talking about your cocktail.
Both the fruit and the musician. Peaches.
Oh, so that's where we're going. Yes.
Yeah. So last year, she was doing her 20th anniversary of the Teachers of Peaches.
Yep.
So I've had tickets in Stockholm to see her, because Grace Jones was putting on the Meltdown over here. And the tickets hadn't gone on sale yet, and I was like, I have to see Peaches. I was lucky enough to see her at a festival in Portugal a couple of years ago, and she completely blew me away. Yeah.
always.
One of
I've seen her
the
quite a
best.
few times in her early. I saw her in the Teachers of Peaches because I'm older than you, and seeing her
Oh,
during
wow.
seeing her during those
jealous.
early days was, yeah, it was amazing. So it basically, I remember the first time I saw her, I was like, I will never miss a show by this person, never, because she knows how to put on a show. She knows how to entertain for sure, and it's always mind blowing. Everything that they do is mind blowing. I just, oh, it's so incredible. So was that your first time getting to see her? Was that time in Portugal?
Yeah, and it was also there's these amazing festivals in Portugal that just they because it's so hot it starts really late in the day and then it goes on to like a dangerous time in the morning. I was there with my little sister who had never come across Peaches before, like did not know what she was in for, and Peaches was playing at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just remember I was just stood there watching my sister watch her, and you could just see she was like, oh my god, what is this? This is like one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. Completely like changed her life essentially. So last year I bought myself the tickets to Stockholm, and then because it was my 30th, my sister got me the tickets for the London show as well. So I saw Peaches twice in like 6 days.
Oh my God, that must have been so amazing. So amazing.
And during that period, when I was in Sweden is when we got asked to do this event with Angels Envy. And I was like, right, cool. What can I do? What can I do? I was like, right, it has to be called, it's peach drink, something long, fizzy, delicious. I'm going to call it the Teachers of Peaches. And yeah, right.
I love it.
It's actually still on it's now on the menu at Free Shoots.
Oh, yay. That's amazing.
It's called Peaches. It has been like the name has been shortened, but it is on still.
Oh, that's so good. Well, that kind of leads into at Three Sheets, I mean, and maybe anywhere, do you have the opportunity to work on the playlist that is there? Do you guys just have something that's set up? I don't know how interactive the team is with the musical selections at Three Sheets.
No, the playlist at Free Sheets is curated.
Same.
It's curated. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's not genre. Sorry,
it goes all over the place, right? It doesn't have to be
it's
one
not
specific
genre specific.
Which I think is better. I think it's better. It's more interesting when you bounce around like that. People are more engaged, I think, personally.
I think also, like, if you make it too specific like that, it can alienate people a little bit.
Totally.
And it's just something that you become known for, rather than having, like, we work with tempo a lot.
Yeah.
So, and then we're constantly queuing songs and changing, like, because you can having a set playlist is like, I think it's awful because you can't play off the people that are in the bar and understand if they're like feeling that vibe or what's going on, etc. And also with that, it kind of allows us to, like, we use tracks that aren't seen as like mainstream, or not as well known, but usually kind of maybe forgotten forgotten songs, because you don't want to also be too niche and just pull out like ridiculous tracks that no one's heard of. You want kind of like to catch people's attention.
I always call those the next steps, sort of. You know, there's the greatest hits album, and then there are kind of the deep cuts, and those are the songs that people forgot that they know, or it was a song that an artist put out that wasn't a #1 hit, but it was in the top 10. And people forgot about it because it wasn't the #1. And so I think for me, when I hear songs like that, it's like, oh, hey, and then you notice it and you're like, oh my God, I completely forgot about that song. This is so great to hear right now, you know, just because it's different, and it perks that person up again. Something I've noticed is if the playlist is not great, people notice that. If the playlist is great, they don't notice it so much because they're comfortable with it. You know?
Completely.
Is
I mean,
there any like, if you, what is a song, is there music or a song or a particular playlist that you like to hear when you're working? Is there something that when you're behind the bar, that song that you're like, oh yes, I want to hear this right now? Do any of those pop up for you?
it depends on how busy it is in the bar, and like, because the playlist varies from, for instance, there's like the Slits or like Grace Jones on our playlist, but there's also like Hot Chip and Fortet. It's like,
Yeah, it's different moods. God, Grace Jones, anytime she comes on is a wonderful thing.
right. So sometimes I would love that, but then also if it's really, really, really busy, I think this is also my secret love for house music, but I really enjoy it if it's really busy, dropping some house, but not kind of the housey tracks that everyone can just have a little bit of a dance to.
Yeah. So they're tapping their toe, you know,
Yeah.
chair. I like to call it chair dancing.
Yeah.
You're just sitting on the stool and they kind of go like this. You're not getting up though. And then I had one last question for you that I ask everyone, and it is for you, if you have a slow moment, maybe you're home relaxing, do you have a drink pairing? Do you like to have sip on a beer and listen to certain music? Do you like to have a certain kind of cocktail and listen to this favorite song? Do you have anything like that works for you?
See, now I used to do that a lot, like in my late teens, early 20s. But that is how I kill albums. And I can't listen to them for
That's
a
fair.
couple years.
That's very fair.
So if I have some downtime, what I like to do is like go out and watch some live music. It doesn't have to be someone that I like. It doesn't have to be a big band or someone that I even really.
It's just checking out any live music, just to Oh, that's wonderful.
Ice cold beer and go watch
someone play. Oh, that's awesome. That's okay. I'm not saying anything about anyone else I've ever interviewed, but that's probably my favorite answer to that question, actually, because it makes so much sense. I mean, duh. I mean, that's wonderful. I love that. So, well, I think we're probably a good point to wrap up the interview part. But if you had any social media or the websites for the bar or any of that stuff that you wanted to share with folks, this is a good time to do it. If you want people to find you or not.
Yeah, my Instagram handle is Rosey, but spelt Rosey, Mitchell. And Free Sheets is Free Sheets Bar.
Free Sheets Bar. There we go.
Yeah. Or come and visit us in Dalston. We'd love that.
I know. I'll get back there maybe in the summertime. I've been thinking it's been as I said, it's been too many years since I've been out there. The last time I was out there, my best friend met his now husband. So I was like, oh, we all went to Gay Pride, and my best friend was there working on a movie, and I went to the restroom. When I came back, there was this very cute young man talking to him. And later that day, my best friend was like, can we go to Soho House Shoreditch? And I'm like, is that guy going to be there? And he's like, yes. Well, he was cute and he seemed very nice. Okay, let's go. And now they're married. So maybe I'll have to go out there again and see if I can.
That is, what a story. That's
I know. I'll go out there again and see if I can help someone else with their love life.
That pride.
I know that pride was pretty fun, actually. So, well, thank you so much for talking to me. Don't go away. I'm going to end this part of the interview, but thank you so much. It was really wonderful talking.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
So there you go. Go to @3sheetslondon on Instagram, or go to their website and you'll see Rosey on the website too. And at 3 Sheets London on Instagram. That's what I meant. And also, if you go to my Spotify page, the Moherms on Spotify, you will find a very, very cool playlist that Rosey put together. And honestly, if you really like it and you think you're a wordsmith of sorts, you should drop her a note and maybe you two can make music together. Thanks so much, Rosey. I'm so happy I got to talk to you, and I promise I'm going to get to London and I'm going to drag my friends over, like I kept saying over and over again. Music and Booze with Mo is brought to you by The Mermaid, a cozy neighborhood bar with an aquatic flair in the Little Tokyo area of downtown LA. Open 7 days a week, featuring tropical cocktails and snacks, The Mermaid also has a daily happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. Follow The Mermaid on Instagram at TheMermaidLA to hear about upcoming events and check them out at themermaidla.com. Head to 428 East 2nd Street, Los Angeles for a drink. Thank you for tuning in to our barroom chats on Music and Booze with Mo. For more info about today's guest, or if you want to connect with me, check out my Facebook page, Moherms. Please subscribe to the podcast and feel free to tell all your friends about it. While you're there, give the show a rating and a review. It really helps to get the word out. If you want to hear the playlists our guests have curated, search She Be Mo on Spotify, SHEBMO. Find pictures of the interviewees and the cool stuff they create on the Music and Booze with Mo Instagram account. Lower your expectations and join us at the bar. Till next time, cheers.